everyone, and welcome to the Accounts Payable webinar. In this webinar, we will cover the driver settlement features and processes. Some topics that we will cover is the deduction charge codes, adding and managing deductions, settlement pay periods and filters, as well as bulk approvals and finalizing settlements. Let's get started. So for the initial setup, we're going to begin by configuring your driver deductions in our accounting configuration settings. This is crucial for administrators who need to ensure seamless integration with accounting systems like QuickBooks. To configure your deductions, you're going to head over to the settings module here towards the top right, and we're going to be here under the accounting card, and we're going to click on accounting configuration. From here, you're going to select deduction name, and this is where we're going to go ahead and add in our deductions. To add in a deduction, you're going to click on add deduction name towards the top right. And from here, you're going to go ahead and enter in that deduction type. So for example, if you are providing a driver advance or if you deduct driver pay for insurance, this is a deduction type name that you would enter in. Also, you would assign it to the appropriate ledger account in your synced accounting system, and you'll see a list of those accounts here below. Once you have filled this information out, you'll go ahead and click on Create here towards the bottom right. And you'll do this for all of the deductions that you apply to your drivers. Once you have all of these created, you're going to head over to the Drivers module and click on Settlement Settings. From here, you'll click on the blue eye icon next to the driver's name, and this is where you will go ahead and create all of those deductions that you entered in on the previous screen. So from here, you'll click on Add Deduction. You'll select the deduction type. So let's say, for example, this is for insurance. If you do have branches enabled, meaning that you work with different branches in different areas, like maybe an office in Los Angeles, an office in Miami, in Houston, etc., you'll go ahead and select the appropriate branch that the driver works in. And the type, so if this is a fixed amount, so you're subtracting a flat amount, or if this is a percentage of the total driver's pay. For the action, since we are deducting, we're going to go ahead and select subtract. And here under frequency, this is where we are telling the system when we wanted to go ahead and deduct this amount from the driver. So if this is on a weekly basis, you'll go ahead and select weekly and that specific day. If this is every 2 weeks, you'll go ahead and select this option here and the specific day. Same for the option for monthly or specific day of each month. And you go ahead and select that date here on the right-hand side. Okay. Or if you have your settlement period set up, which we will get to in just a sec, you can go ahead and do it based off the settlement period. Now for your reoccurring amount, this is where you'll enter in the amount that you deduct from your driver for their insurance, for example. So from here, let's just say it's $100. We'll go ahead and enter in $100. And also from here, the start date by default will be on today's date, but if you wanted to start on a later date, you do have that option to select from here below. And for the end date, we typically recommend pushing this out a year from now. But if this does end in 6 months, for example, you do have that option to go ahead and select 6 months from now as well. So we'll go ahead and click on that calendar date here. And I'm going to go ahead and go to September, click on the year. We'll do September 1st. And we'll go ahead and click anywhere on the screen so it saves. Perfect. So now we can see that we have 2 deductions for our driver Will Smith, and we could also see our schedule date here towards the top left, so we can see when these deductions are scheduled to be applied, and you can also view that here on the upcoming tab. You also are provided with an audit tab, so you'll be able to see who in the account or which one of your team members created that specific deduction, what specific date, and what type of deduction was created. Now that you had your deductions set up, now we're going to go into creating a custom settlement period. Now by default in the system, your drivers will be on PortPro's Sunday through Saturday settlement period. If you do have a custom settlement period, meaning maybe it starts on Saturday, maybe it starts on Monday or Wednesday, to create that, we're still going to be here under the drivers module under settlement settings, but we're going to click on the settlement periods tab. So from here, you'll click on Add New Settlement Period here towards the top right, and you're going to go ahead and give it a name. You can also do this based off the duration type. So if you pay your drivers weekly, you can name this weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly. So you'll enter in that name here, and then you're going to select your duration type below. So as you can see, we have different options, and you could also create your own custom if you don't see the option of how you pay your drivers listed here. Once you have that option selected, you'll go ahead and select your start week from if it's weekly. Let's just say it's weekly starting on Monday, or once again, we have other options for bi-weekly, and you'll select the effective date, bi-monthly, or monthly. So once you have that set up, you'll go ahead and click on Create Settlement Period. One important thing to note here is if you do have driver pay set up, you want to head back over to your driver pay rates tab. Click on the pencil icon into the driver groups that you have set. Click on the settlement period tab and just ensure that those drivers are on the correct settlement period. So if you just created that custom settlement period, you want to make sure you go in here and you select that and you click on complete. So the system updates that driver group and they are on the correct settlement period that you have created. Now we're going to go into how to process a driver settlement. So we're going to still be here and we're going to go into the accounts payable module. So from here, we're going to go into the driver pay tab. Now on this screen, we're going to go over the features that we see here at the top, and then we're going to go into how to process the actual settlement. So here under driver pay, it's going to give you a list of loads that your drivers have completed in the system, or the loads that you have assigned or moves that you have assigned to the drivers. It's going to show you a list of those here below. This date range that you see here towards the top left is going to be your settlement period. So once again, if you see Sunday through Saturday, that is the default settlement period in PortPro, and you would have to create your own custom settlement period. But this date range that you see here towards the top left should be the settlement period that your drivers are working on. But you do have the option to filter this. So if you want to view this by the month, so if you want to view all moves that your drivers completed for the month, or create a custom range and be able to view all of those moves completed within that date range, you have the option to do so here. So for example, if we were working on last week's loads, we're going to click on the arrow here to go to that specific week. And now I can see a list of all of the moves that my drivers have completed for that specific week. Now the 5 cards that you see here at the top, 2 of them are based off of the driver activity, and the remaining 3 are based off of the activity from your accounts payable team while they are processing the settlement. So to further explain, for example, the drafted card here will show you all moves that the drivers are assigned to. So by default in PortPro, when a driver is assigned to a move, that line item of pay will automatically be in a drafted status until the driver completes that move. When the driver has successfully completed the move, it will then move it to an unapproved status. The reason why it will be in an unapproved status is because no one from your team has marked it as approved as of yet and haven't reviewed their pay. So when you're in the actual driver settlement, which we will go over in just a few moments, that is when you would be approving the pay that you will be paying to your driver, reviewing the settlement, and that's also when you will be finalizing it. And that's where these 3 cards come into play here. So for example, you can see all of the moves that have been approved and anything that has been finalized and marked as reviewed as well. Additionally, on this screen, you do have access to a search bar, so you can search by load number, container number, driver here, and you also have different filters here as well. So if you want to filter by the specific branch, by the specific driver or truck owner, you have the options here at the top. And here on the very far right, you have access to a filter button. So this is a really good tool if you want to see all of the different moves where a driver uploaded all of their documents or is missing any other specific documents. You do have the option to select those doc types here, and the system will filter and show you all of those moves where the driver did not upload or did upload those as well. Additionally, on this screen, if you ever have to manually enter in driver pay that wasn't already set up in the system, meaning if you have to manually enter in driver pay for a rate that's not something that's set up in the system, like dry run, for example, the way to enter that in, or one way you can enter that in, is by clicking on Add Driver Pay here towards the top right. When you click there, you're going to follow the red asterisk here towards the bottom. So you're going to select the load number. It doesn't have to be the full load number. It can be the last few numbers of that specific load number. And you'll go ahead and select that here below. And the system will tie it to the container number for you. You'll also select the driver, so who you're applying the payment to. And you're going to select the from and to location. So let's just say, for example, it's from the terminal to the yard. You'll go ahead and select those locations here. And you'll enter in the amount that you're paying the driver. And here in the description, this is where you're entering in if it's the base rate for that specific move, or if it's for things like a pre-pull or waiting time, things of that sort. So from here, I'm just going to enter in dry run. And you'll also want to make sure you select the appropriate branch if you do have that enabled. And you'll go ahead and click on Add Driver Pay. So you can see that here at the very top that we went ahead and entered in pay for Antonio for that dry run. Now we'll go ahead and head into driver settlements. So from here, once again, we can see that settlement pay period here towards the top left. And as a reminder, if you do not see a list of your drivers here, it's because this is a default settlement period. But to see your drivers in that custom settlement period, you'll click on that drop down arrow here below, and you'll have a list of those drivers here. So once you click on that custom settlement period, so whether weekly or bi-weekly or however you choose to set it up, you'll see a list of those drivers populated here below, and we'll go ahead and go to last week's moves. So we have 3 different cards here at the top. The first one is going to be your settlement pending card. So these are all of the settlements where no one from your team have reviewed the driver pay or approved the driver pay as of yet. You have your settlement reviewed card, so it's giving you visibility on what driver settlements have been reviewed, pending to be finalized. And then you have your settlement finalized card, meaning everything has been approved, it's ready to send over to the driver. And once you click on finalize, the driver will receive a notification in their app, letting them know they have a settlement ready to review. And if you do have your accounting software, as in QuickBooks, connected to the account, this would be the trigger for the system to sync it over to your QuickBooks account as well. So to go into how to process a driver settlement, you'll go ahead and click on the blue arrow here next to the driver's name to open up the settlement. And within the settlement, you're going to see that it's split between 3 different tabs. The first tab is going to be the driver pay. We have the unapproved and our approved tab. So unapproved is going to be all of the line items that your team would have to review and go through and go ahead and approve. And then approve will show you all of the driver pay that you have approved so far. So when reviewing the line items, you do have the option to click on the load number. So if you ever have to go in and review the routing information or any documentation here, or any specific notes pertaining to that specific move the driver is assigned to verify, you do have the option to do so. And you can click on close and it will bring you back here into the driver settlement screen. Now from here, when you are ready to approve the driver pay, you can scroll here towards the right and hover over that unapproved status and click on approve. Or if you want to bulk approve, meaning if you have numerous line items here for this specific driver and you want to approve them all in one go, you would click on the checkbox here towards the far left and click on this mark as approved. So it's going to approve all of the line items here below. Or if you ever need to delete or bulk delete any line items, you'll go ahead and click on this delete button. But I'm going to go ahead and click on mark as approved. Let's bring it over here to the approved tab. Okay. Same thing with deductions. So the deductions that we have set up earlier, if you don't have any driver deductions, you can skip over this tab. But if you do have any reoccurring deductions, those will show up here under unapproved. Or if you need to manually enter in a deduction, if it's like a one-time thing, you can click here where it says add deduction. You'll go ahead and select that deduction type. So from here, if you want to go ahead and select loan advance, for example, and you'll go ahead and select that appropriate branch. the unit of measure, so if it's a flat amount or if it's a percentage of the total driver pay. For the math, if you are subtracting or adding, we're going to go ahead and subtract, and the amounts. So let's just say it's $50, for example, and you'll go ahead and select the date. So I'm going to go ahead and select the 5th, and you'll click anywhere on the screen so it saves. And as you can see, it moved it over to the Approve tab for us. And as you are approving driver pay and deductions, you'll also notice these three cards here towards the top right updating. So you can see the total driver pay and the deduction and the driver's net pay. The third tab is going to be the Notes tab. So this is where you can enter in any public notes. So this would be, public notes would be anything that you want your drivers to see on the driver settlement. Private notes would be if you want to notate anything internally for your team to see. Just keep in mind that if you do enter in any notes here, to click on the Save Notes button here towards the bottom right. But once you have reviewed the driver pay and the deductions, you'll go ahead and mark this settlement as reviewed. So I'll go ahead and click on Review here, and the system will prompt you with this message asking you, are you sure you want to mark this as reviewed? And you'll go ahead and select Yes, Review. And as you can see, it's going to move it over to Settlement Reviewed card. The system will also generate a settlement number for you. And if we open up this settlement again, it's going to give us visibility of the driver pay that has been approved, the deductions that have been approved, any notes that your team have applied, and it's also going to provide you with an audit tab. So it's going to show you the user who marked it as reviewed, and at the time that it was marked as reviewed, how much the driver was getting paid. Now, from this point, you wouldn't be able to make any edits to the settlement, but if you do need to make any edits or enter any additional notes, you would click on Unreview, and you would confirm that you would like to mark it as unreviewed. And then from here, the system will move it back to the settlement pending card, where you will be able to make those edits, updates, and changes. Once you are done, you can come back here and you can go ahead and mark it as reviewed again. Now, once you have gone through all of your driver settlements here below, that is when you will go ahead and finalize the driver settlement when you are ready to push it over to your QuickBooks account and alert your drivers that their settlement is finalized and ready for them to review. To do so, you'll click on this Finalize button here towards the very far right. The system is going to prompt you with this message asking, are you sure you want to mark this settlement as finalized because you are unable to edit this settlement once finalized? And you'll go ahead and click on Yes, Finalize. And as you can see, the system moves it over to the Settlement Finalize card. From this point, you are able to download the settlement, and you can also email it out to whomever will need to receive it. But your drivers will also receive an alert in their app letting them know that they have a settlement ready for them to review. And once again, if you do have QuickBooks software connected with PortPro, that will be the trigger for the system to send it over to your QuickBooks account. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I hope you have an amazing day.